actually grew up in the then Transkei, in Losikisiki. And I went to school in Little Flower in Akopo, and from there trained at Groote Hospital in Cape Town, and did some of my studies at Coronation Hospital. And I got married here, and when I qualified, I left nursing, went into the accounting field and headed the Randwater Medical Scheme for many years, retired from there. I realized my first passion was still nursing. At the time, when I worked at Randwater as the manager of the medical scheme, I realized that there was quite an HIV epidemic because lots of the employees were HIV. So then I retired from there and joined my sister, who was heading the program at Marion Hill Hospital, the HIV program. Worked with her for a while on a voluntary basis of setting up procedures and protocols and for HIV and AIDS. And that was a couple of years. I came back home, and I decided to go back into nursing. And that's how I came on to Lambano Sanctuary, because of my HIV background and also my passion for nursing, and especially children. We actually have many success stories. Even though we're a hospice and we're dealing with the life-limiting and life-threatening ailments, but I think our success stories here are more than you would imagine that life-limiting ailments can actually be like. We have so many, but the ones I've chosen today are two in particular who actually are still here with us. Most of them have been discharged. We have a couple of deaths, but our death rate is like one in every 3 to 4 months. So we're doing very well with the success stories than with the death rate. We have a little girl that I'd like to talk about in particular. Her name is Bongile Dubuzane. She comes from a very, very underprivileged background. She's a twin. Unfortunately for her, she developed the virus, and she's also got the Down syndrome and a certain degree of autism. Her twin, however, is not sick. She's quite well, and her mom is infected. And so they are living in a shack. There's 5 children in total. Mom cannot cope with Spongile. Spongile was brought to us via the welfare services at the clinic where she attended, at the hospital actually. And that's how she came in. When she came in to us, she's a 7-year-old girl. She looked like a little 2-year-old, even smaller, with a nasogastric tube. She couldn't eat anything through the mouth. She was totally malnourished. She was sick, a viral load that was sky high, CD4 count very, very low. And she couldn't walk, she couldn't do anything. Within a month of being with us, we removed the tube. In fact, less than a month. We removed the NG tube and started feeding her orally. She could maintain the foods and the liquids. She did very well. We started teaching her to walk, and today she's a little girl that is literally running around, walking all over the show, screams for her meals. She knows exactly when it's meal times or snack times, so she's always at the kitchen door waiting for her snacks. The only challenge with Spongile, however, is that if we could have her stay here, we would keep her here all the time, but she needs to go somewhere where she could be stimulated. We are, however, we're just a medical facility, and we cannot stimulate children that the experts out there, education can, and she needs to get into some system of education. We have, our social workers have contacted the social services out there, and they're trying to get her to be placed in a school, a stimulation center from morning till evening, where she could stay with Mom. Mom cannot really look after Spongile, being sick herself, But we cannot also take Sbongile away totally because she's also dependent on the grants that the child is having. So we need a stimulation center for her where she can just go during the day and at night stay with her family. She's very attached to her twin and her mother. So she loves her family, and I think the best place for her would be to be with the family. So we've done our bit, and we need to take her now a step further where she can be stimulated mentally. I have another one, the young lady's here. She's a 13-year-old girl who, according to the mom, just suddenly developed a severe headache. And she was supposed to go to church with mom, and she told mom, no, I have a headache, I cannot go. But she stayed 3 days with the headache. Then the Monday morning, mom saw that the child was paralyzed on the right side. And she rushed her to hospital. They ran all the tests. Of course, she had developed a meningitis, bacterial meningitis. They had to do an emergency tracheostomy on her, etc., etc. She stayed for 3 months in the hospital, and she came here. When she came to Lambano, she was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. She couldn't talk. She was being peg fed. They had inserted a peg for her, and she couldn't do pretty much anything. 2 weeks. She was here 2 weeks. We stimulated her. We did whatever we could, whatever we do best. And with 2 weeks thereafter, she started eating orally. So we started feeding her solids orally. She couldn't at that stage still take the liquids, and her medicine had to go through the peg. A month later, she could do everything orally. Trachea was removed. We started teaching her to walk using a walking frame, all the different frames, exercises. And today, she came in October, and it's February now. She's walking, she's talking, she's eating, she's helping around. She's like one of the staff at this place. And she cannot also, she was in mainstream education grade 9. So the problem is now she cannot go back to mainstream education. Mom is trying to get her into a center for children that are differently abled, but I think there's quite an overload here, and it's difficult to get these children into any center. But as soon as she gets in, and then we'll discharge her home. She takes her tablets, she knows all her medicine, she knows everything about lots of diseases because she's assisting us here now.
Great.
Most of our patients come from government state hospitals. They what actually happens is the social workers at these different centers, they phone us, and then we send them an admission application form, which they fill in and send back to us. We then have a team meeting. The team sits, and we agree to take the child or reject the child. And then before we even have the team meeting, our doctor and one of our nurses go out to assess the child. And after the team meeting, we go back to the treating doctor, and we say, well, the child can be admitted, and that's how we bring the children in. But we do it purely on a medical, because there's lots of social problems out there. So we try to just stick onto the medical, that there's always a social element to it, but we do it purely on the medical. Our children come in with HIV. Most of them are in the 8th stage already. They have CD4 counts that are like 3 or 6, totally non-compliant. They're in a bad shape. But I think our success stories is actually we do very, very well with the HIV and getting them back to normality again. Our major challenge at this point in time, I think, is a financial one, because we We spend a lot of money when our children come in and they develop different conditions. They develop whatever infection. We spend a lot of money on antibiotics, expensive antivirals, diflucans to get them back online. So yes, I think that our major challenge is definitely a financial one, because it also affects the staffing, etc., etc.
Okay.
The highlights is, I think, for all the staff here, is actually seeing children that are literally at death's door and being able to, by God's grace, to turn them around.